Greetings, Darklings, from across the interwebs. It is I, the Duchess, Precious Ken, and we are back once again for the Sounds and Shadows podcast. I have with me, as always, Kadonia.
It's Kadana, like Madonna.
Oh, Kadana. I said it wrong, my bad. And P-Tink.
The fabulous Mavzel.
P-Tink, your lighting is on point. Your hair is flaxen and flowing like sheets of grain. I love it. But the most important thing that we have with us here are the special guests, Bootblacks from New York. Well, specifically, Bootblacks are from Brooklyn, correct?
That is correct.
Wonderful to have you guys all with us, and lady. Can you start off by going around the horn, saying who you are and what you play in the band?
I am Panther, and I am the singer in the band.
I am Barrett, and I play the synthesizers.
I'm Alli, and I play guitar.
And I'm Larry, I play drums.
Hell yeah, you do. Sorry, I was gushing about your drumming. I got very excited. Luckily, since we started this interview a little bit late and my work ended at 5:30, I got a little Don Draper on these dirty martinis. So
Nice.
I'm going to try and keep focus and hold it together. Yeah. You guys are on Artifact Records. And why don't you start out by telling me, how did the tale of Bootblacks happen? How'd you crazy kids find each other? And what was the moment that you knew these humans are the ones that you wanted to get sweaty and jam into a band with to travel around the country?
Well, I guess Alli and I got sweaty together in about 2008 when we both lived in San Francisco. We played in another band called The Holy Kiss. We collectively moved to New York City. 2010, we started the band, and whatever the hell's happened between now and then. But yeah, it's been a weird journey for all of us.
We kind of floated in the same orbit for a few years in New York. I was in another band at the time. They were a three-piece, and we had played some shows together. We were friendly with each other, but it wasn't until a few years later I had just left my previous band, and I kind of just went on a quick little tour with them where them and our good friends from Germany, Lise Noir, were doing their very first tour of the States. So they wanted somebody to kind of come along and just document the whole journey. I ended up being that person somehow. I had a little bit of video editing experience, I guess. Our friend Hillary kind of said, hey, bring Barrett. He's easygoing. He'll have, he's fun, blah, blah, blah. So I went along and I had a blast. We just kind of cemented our friendship, which was kind of a great thing to happen first. It just turns out that I think Panther wanted to stop being the synth guy. He wanted to just be the front man because he was playing keys and singing at the same time back then. So the timing was perfect. It was, come down, let's rehearse a little bit. We'll play a show together. And then after the first couple shows, they invited me to be a full-time member, and we immediately had started writing fragments.
Yes, and before that, you guys, you had an EP called Narrowed, correct?
Yeah, it was our first sort of like idea about the band, what the band would be, or the initial sound. It wasn't our first full-length album, but it was sort of the run-up to whatever Veins would be. It was sort of our initial aesthetic sound.
I really, listening to this new album, I feel like it was a big leap forward, and I want to talk about that later. But what was that original kind of vision? Like you guys said, you had an idea for this band. What was the sound that you said to yourself, we can get together and make something here worthwhile, and you laid down Narrows?
I think we actually just wanted to be free to just do whatever happened. With the band that we were in San Francisco had like really definite boundaries as to what we could and couldn't do. One night we were coming back from a European tour. He and I were tasked with watching the gear while everyone else slept in the airport, because our flight wasn't until 7 a.m. and we got there at 2 a.m. So everyone went to sleep. We were watching all the gear. We were just talking, and we were like, we should just move to New York and start a band and just have no rules. Let everybody just do whatever they want, and just see what happens. And I think it just ended up working out really well.
Yeah, actually, just to add a little bit to that, I thought that was one of the strangest things to me when I joined the band, was every band I'd ever been in had a box that they wanted to be in, and they were like, this is our sound and this is it, and you know, you fit into that or you don't. I remember when we had started writing together, I was kind of like, oh, well, what do you want me to do? They were like, do what you want, do what feels right to you. That was extremely refreshing to me. Still is.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we're still on that same ride where anything goes. Like you said, you've heard the new record, you know what we're capable of, and it's basically anything. Like, we don't have any rules.
So on that note, I love the Narrows EP, but the drums were kind of not great. And I've seen you live. I saw you live with my drummer, whose mouth was on the floor the entire time we watched you play. Larry, when did you come into this, and what changes did that bring?
It's been like 2 years.
2 years, I think.
It was right around the time we did Part-Time Punks.
Well, I can speak for Larry just in the sense that he's a fucking monster on the drums. That's just point blank. So whatever we have to say about the songs where they were recorded, like if you saw it live, like Larry's a fucking monster.
I can't figure out how he's not just punching through the snare every single fucking hit. It's amazing to see live.
I can't figure it out myself either, because I play with the guy and it sounds like there's a fucking rocket up my asshole and punching it, like my spinal cord across. I mean, he's a monster drummer. That's just like, that's what it is.
But yeah, he came in right when we were getting ready to start writing a new album, so it was really good timing. And he's just brought a lot. He's really brought a lot to the writing process. He likes to tinker at home on his iPad and come up with cool ideas. It's been really exciting to have him join. And I'm not just saying that because he's my husband, but like, he's just a really impressive musician. And so I can separate myself.
He's not just a great drummer. I've seen the man play the piano, and I am jealous.
Wait, does he use both hands?
Larry has perfect pitch and also a really great intuition about science fiction TV as well. That I
don't get him started.
Okay.
So do we all actually hate him?
I don't even know what we need to ask to anybody else in the band. I think this is just, I mean, let's just gush on Larry.
And we usually do.
Look, he hasn't said a word, I don't think.
He doesn't have to.
Larry is a quiet, humble man, but he is a musician's musician, not just only like in his live playing ability, but his like ear and tone to everything else. So, I mean, it is interesting to me because he's a quiet guy that doesn't speak a lot, but he's a true musician in a way that is respected if you can hear it. You know what I mean? He is a musician's musician for sure.
Thanks.
I can empathize greatly with that, Panther. I know what it's like to be a singer and just look around in awe and be like, I sing some stuff. Sure. You know. Speaking of Panther and his narcissist ways, Colin, did you have a question?
We're talking about me, buddy.
Do you answer to Cougar,
Oh,
Jaguar, Ocelot, or Mir? And how did we get to Panther?
Well, first of all, I would answer to any dominant wild cats.
Excellent.
good answer.
The name comes from my hand. I have a birth deficiency. See this? The nickname comes from like an animal's claw. It also means I killed a guy in prison as well. So I don't know what
This makes sense. I'm totally going to blame Jared for making me think of this. But now I'm dedicated to this idea. Panther, do you have any specific footwear and or accoutrements specifically looking for, you know, like on your body, but it doesn't really matter. What do you need that's absurd as fuck to get ready in the vocal booth?
You're kind of blowing my mind with this question, I got to be honest. The bracelets that I have are very superstitious to me, right?
Ooh, okay.
For me, it's probably the bracelets. And in fact, it's so much the bracelets that when we did veins, when we did the vocal comps, you could hear them rattling.
Ooh.
I always have, it's a very superstitious thing for me, so.
What does your writing process look like when you're recording an album? Does one member write most of the songs? You said you did your own things, but how does the structure form?
It's extremely collaborative from the beginning. It usually starts with bass. We just come up with a bass line, and then we just build out from that. Whoever's got an idea, they bring it in, and we throw it in the mix. That's really it. I think the bass, then maybe a little bit of a drum beat, then Alli comes in with the guitar, then I flesh out a little bit atmospheric crap, and then Panther will do his thing at the end.
I have a very strict idea that the vocals should only be at the end of the process.
Do you like write your lyrics according to how the song makes you feel then?
I think as the process is going along, that again, bass, drums, and then atmosphere, I think that like at least my premise is that the lyrics are a impression of the song. So I actually think about it retrospectively in the sense of that what's the idea of the song later. So I actually don't do it the way of like having some chord changes and having some ideas about what the song should be about.
So to me, this album, we kind of talked about listening to the others. I heard you guys and saw you play live, and I was blown away by it. I'd heard the albums before I saw you play live. You're one of those bands that was such a different experience when I saw it live to everything I'd heard before. It took it to another level for me. Great bands can capture that different experience live. But this new album, from the moment I heard it and got it in my hands, was exciting for a lot of reasons, but one of them was you were recording with Jason from Actors. What was that experience like? How do you feel like that changed and took your sound to a different level?
We were a live band, and I felt that it had a completely different sound. And when he heard our old albums or whatever we were doing, like I didn't feel like that ever reflected those things. Jason is an incredible producer. He just is. And I think that this album reflects his vision about capturing that message.
I agree with that 100%. And I think the other thing too is, like I said, I mean, I talk to Jason a fair amount, and you guys do come up from time to time. I hear in his voice when he talks about you guys how much he believes in your sound and what you're doing. When you have a producer that feels that way about the band they're recording, it's something that can't be faked. It's something that, you know what I mean? It comes through. He's having fun and loving the sound that you're producing and recording, you guys.
We've talked about this amongst the band since the beginning of us knowing that we were going to record with him. We really wanted his input. It wasn't just going to be, hey, try to record us as best as you can. Exactly like you just said, we wanted him to have fun with it. We wanted his creative input because I mean, we've toured with the man for 2 years now. We love his aesthetic. We love his sound. We think his albums, his music sounds great. And we wanted somebody that could help us make a great album. And he did.
He's a master of the studio. It's a different skill set to have a master of the recording studio, and Jason is that. And it's like exactly what Barrett was saying. Like we were always wanting to find a person that could capitalize on that, and like Jason is. I mean, Jackknife Studios is. I mean, he's building his kind of own sound there. He's amazing there.
So, this is an incredible album. I mean, I've listened to it front and back several times now. I hear a lot of records doing this review page and doing this, and when I hear it, I know it. When I hear that special extra something, I know it. And you can't achieve that just from the right guy recording it or getting the right vocal take or, you know, instrumental take. They have to be good songs. What do you think about these songs really hit that next level for you guys, that you touched on something that people can connect to? What was it about these songs that made them ring so true for you?
Funny, because I think when we're writing the songs, we don't overthink it.
It's just stuff we want to hear ourselves, or like it's risk we want to hear ourselves, right?
We'll definitely, if it just feels right, we'll just go for it. I don't think there's really any calculations behind it. We make music that we would want to hear. We all come from a background of listening to an album front to back. We've all been taken on a journey, and I think that's what we wanted to make. We wanted to make an album with ebbs and flows, with peaks and valleys, and that like you would want to listen to the whole thing, not just throw on the single and be like, okay, I'm done here. There's a journey to be taken.
It's the compliment that Jason has given us, which is just basically that he goes, you guys just write songs and you're not taking, he's like, you take risks, like in the sense that it's not self-aware, right? It's just stuff that sounds cool. And he's like, I think that's why he got involved with the record. And I guess that's just part of the process. We just do stuff that we think people would like.
I enjoy it a lot too, and I think that's part of, I mean, I know that can sound like, oh, we didn't have some overarching, bwahaha plan. When you just write something that this is the song that came out of us and what we felt, I think ringing true and ringing honest, people aren't always overthinking things, and they don't want to. They want to hear something about an emotion or a feeling that they could have and they could connect to. And sometimes that's a simple truth. I think that's part of what you guys really captured in this record that got a hold of me and made me think about that. I was filled with emotion by it, but it wasn't necessarily in some huge overarching narrative.
One of the things I really enjoy about the new album is every song, you're switching gears, but it's a fucked up. Like you're cruising in 6, 120, flying down the highway, and you drop gear down to second, blow the transmission out, and fly in reverse. I love that. Nothing is expected on your song order. Like it flows, and it flows amazing. At the same time, it's like you always sound like Bootblacks, but you're in one genre, and then you go into the next song, and it's a complete mindfuck.
Well, it's the greatest compliment that could ever happen, because I don't want it to sound like a sort of flat statement or a reductive cover band or whatever it is. To be honest, I think that like Jason and Artifact have brought us up to that, but I've always felt a high level of like, that just sounds weird. It just sounds like we're just making a song to make a song rather than a collective sort of genre statement or stylistic decision. So thank you.
See, I found genre was hard to pin with you guys. I think what I said to Barrett was that it sounded like Sieg Sieg Sputnik on adrenochrome. That was the closest I could come up with to being a genre on it, for that reason, that it like Colin said, it was
I sound like I'm drunk listening to a Nintendo track from the 80s or something. That's rad, because I don't want to, like, my nightmare would to be derivative. I think that a lot of the stuff with a lot of the genre we deal with is derivative. What we're doing is good or bad or in between. That's for people to judge, but I don't want to be derivative. I want to be in the style. I want to be in the mood of it. I don't want to be derivative. If we can do that and be impactful, like, that's a dream come true. So that's the goal.
You have such an eclectic sound. It made me curious about where you all are from and what the scenes were like from your hometowns.
Larry and I are born and raised New Yorkers. There's an LA guy.
That's
and
me.
Alli on all over the place. I think that's kind of part of the fun. Like you said, I think we all love so many genres of music, and we've all had our genres that we've maybe leaned a little bit more into, but we all definitely have our distinct favorites and things like that. So I think that's part of what makes our music so unique, is that we're all just coming from these different angles.
What bands did you listen to that influenced you to play the instrument that you play?
I became a keyboard player completely by accident. I was a drummer for a long time.
I think this whole band is this thing, or at least Barrett and I are people who didn't play the instrument we ended up on.
Yeah, that's right. Panther was a bassist. It's strange. They'll make fun of me if I say who influences me.
Oh, no.
It's really obvious.
Barrett was that.
I'll just say their initials are TR.
There's nothing wrong with that. God damn it. That's where I'm at.
Listening to Pretty Hate Machine. I mean, that happened to the best of us, you know. We all cried about it because she didn't love us anymore. It happens.
Yeah, if I just took you right around the corner there and you saw my shrine.
No, it's one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
But,
we just tease them a bit.
I know. I wear it on my sleeve, literally.
No, I think collectively we all love the same things, but also like pull weird influences. It's not that we don't have the same influences. It's just
Obviously,
that we just
we
pull
all
from
love The
different
Cure
things.
and, Bauhaus and all the standards. But then, we
Right.
all kind of go in our different directions from there. And
What's your favorite disco band, each of you?
Disco band? It's my favorite disco band.
Like new disco or 70s disco?
No, 70s.
Uh,
The real shit.
Specifically
Disco?
ABBA.
I don't know enough about that to answer that. I'm not going to talk shit. I'm not going to pretend like I'm an authority here.
Gloria Gaynor.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one. I will say this following up too. I heard from both you guys, Larry, Alli. What kind of stuff do you guys have to add into the influences that you brought to the table? Maybe specifically, kind of like they talked about, not the crossover ones, but the ones that you feel like you're bringing into the music that are yours.
I mean, I grew up, I had to learn like all the impressive stuff, like Zeppelin and Jane's Addiction and everything. I was jumping around in my bed playing all that stuff when I was 15. Then when I got into, post-punk and goth stuff, it was really refreshing because it's much less technical. So I was like, I can play this. This is really cool. So somehow I think I married those two approaches a little bit. So, I guess mostly feel. I just kind of learned to eventually just go by feel. I think that's how you make your own sound.
Yeah.
Larry, did you make a run for it, or do you have something you want to put in? Because like I said, I feel like the drums are such a big impact on the energy of what makes this feel fresh. And who are the people that made a big difference to you that you feel like is coming through in that energy that's making this sound?
Probably Led Zeppelin.
Sure. John Bonham is one of the greatest drummers. I mean, you can't go wrong.
I have a whole playlist just of songs that use John Bonham samples.
But if you listen to our Spotify playlist, we've done 2 of them now, you can see kind of all of our different influences come together. And on the last one, I was proud of Larry because he finally threw some hardcore in. And he was
Nice.
in New York going to CBGBs when he was a teenager. So, that's his roots. And you can hear it, I think.
Don't forget your roots.
You guys will have to send us along a link to the playlist, and we'll put it in the comments down when we post the video, because that would be awesome for your fans and the listeners. All right, now we need to get to the serious questions. We've gone through some of the fluff now. I'm going to cut right to the bone here. I need to establish the group dynamics for your band and the relationships within them. So if you were to break down in your band into an archetype, the Golden Girls, which Golden Girl would you be and why?
I think that might be Blanche.
You're the Blanche of this band, because you got to choose one. She's taking Blanche. I'm Blanche too.
No, I think Panther's Blanche.
Oh, you said Panthers. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
Blanche.
also
I
Blanche.
can't believe you jumped on that, Alli. I'm definitely
You're Blanche.
I think singers in general have
all
to be
Blanche.
Blanche. And I think we bass player types are going to be the B. Arthur.
Dorothy in the streets, Rose in the sheets. I was a big Golden Girls fan, actually.
Yeah, me
my
too.
mom and I used to
What do you
watch
mean
it.
were?
Yeah, I guess I still am.
Yeah. Barrett, you're Betty White.
I'm
Aww.
okay with that.
I think
So-
Larry's Sophia. I think he's Sophia because he's got some sass. I identify most with Rose because she's a ditz, but I think Barrett has been deemed Rose, so I'll take Dorothy, man. I love Dorothy.
Hell yeah, take Dorothy.
Yeah,
That's a
her
good one.
purses are massive. She
I'm
Oh,
definitely
can bring
B. Arthur
anything
because
she
I am.
needs anywhere she goes. That's cool. I'm prepared.
I'm B. Arthur because I'm the tallest and bossiest. So
that's fair. That's fair.
I
All
knew
right.
it was just going to dwindle down to a fight over who's Dorothy.
look at the pine finish. I'm clearly B. Arthur. So go ahead.
So we've reached that special time in the Sounds and Shadows interview where I turn it over, and it's hard every time. Colin, it's your time to talk technical musical recording nerdery.
Oh boy.
Members of Bootblacks.
All right. Well, first off, I'm gonna acknowledge that people are humans. And Alli, how's your foot doing?
Aw, that's so sweet. It's doing really well. I jogged for the first time this week since my surgery.
When the after times happen, there's going to be dancing again on stage.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
I'm happy to hear that. So next question is, what's your new favorite pedal?
It would be hands down TC Electronics Flashback 2. It's versatile and it has a really nice feature. I don't remember what it's called, but when you can hit something and push on the pedal and it'll just hold it forever. I use it way too much because I'm just so excited about it. So
do you have that feeling of I am infinite?
Yeah, kind of.
It's
for better or for worse. Yeah.
Larry, why aren't the claps louder? Yeah, that's my one and only complaint on the new album is the claps are not loud enough.
Jason Corbett, fuck you.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
On the album?
Yeah.
There are claps on the album?
Yes.
I guess if they were louder, I would know, huh?
Damn right,
yeah,
they're not loud enough. Why didn't you push for more claps?
Can we dial Jason in?
Can we?
We have a special guest caller.
Send him the link.
We'll get the answer to this.
Why aren't the claps louder?
Seriously, I love the new album so much. Mix wise, mastering wise, everything about it, it's fantastic. And that's my one thing where I was like, God damn it, this is wrong.
If that's the one thing, we'll take it.
We're doing pretty
Yeah.
good.
No, it's fucking great. Realistically, Larry, how much are you using samples in your recording? How much is that you live in a room?
There's no samples, I don't think.
No. He plays them live.
It's all Larry.
All Larry.
That's stupid.
I know, right?
I hate it. It sounds so good. Barrett, what has got you excited for plugins and or new actual organic gear?
Well, this is going to sound silly probably to a lot of people, but I'm a recent Ableton convert. I just got on the Ableton train after years of being a Logic guy. I don't have too much other than that. I've actually been spending a little bit more time on the visual side of things. Haven't really downloaded any new plugins or anything like that lately. So if you've got any suggestions, throw them my way.
I don't, but honestly, I'm gonna have to hit you up because
In the comments. Leave comments. Tell us what VSTs I should be using.
I have been having the conversation a lot lately on I am a Logic guy. I love it. It's what I've known for 10 years.
Mhm.
And Ableton is the only DAW that intimidates me.
Yeah. But
So-
I tell you, it's gotten a lot better for people that are used to Logic.
Excellent.
Yeah, because I remember trying it out, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, however long ago it was, and it felt like a foreign planet to me.
It made no fucking sense. It was like, here's your little blocks and bullshit and do the thingies. I didn't like it.
Once I kind of figured out the linear side to it, that helped a lot. And then it's just a matter of just finding where they put this instead of over here. They put it over here, and that's it. I mean, everything else works just as well.
And lastly, Panther, what's your favorite vocal effect plugin to use that makes you feel like, yeah, I'm in it?
I don't know, man. I don't know shit about that stuff. But, I'm new to the chorus. Like, I think that most people, like, they're singing, you get up there and you're like, yeah, I want some reverb. I want a little tap delay if you have a, like, kind sound guy. But I think what actually Jason taught me is that chorus is some semblance of that is, like, a really nice effect that helps smooth out your vocals. So, chorus.
As somebody who was, like I said, listened to all your records and heard them and heard this new one, it's night and day. The way that I heard your voice for the first time, really, on this record, in terms of a different level of really hearing what you could bring to the table and what you were capable of on this record, the way it came through clearly, it was night and day. And it's a beautiful thing, brother. So keep listening to Jason and using the effect that he says.
Well, I mean, that's the interesting thing is that, like, doing this album with Jason, it's like I'm not doing anything vocally different. He's just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, there's certain effects and there's certain like things that can enhance your voice, and that was definitely one of the weird things. I always thought, oh, I just need some delay or something to make it big or sort of moody, and he was like, oh no, it's just chorus, man.
This album is a lot sassier vocally than your
Yeah.
previous one, though. Do you think live your shows had a lot to do with that, or what added to the confidence and sass that you brought on this time?
Well, it's weird because a couple of like of the songs that we played off the album, like the Jealous Star, which is the new single that's out, like we've been playing that song for almost a year live.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that different vocally from what's on the album. So I don't know. And again, this is just a testament to what sort of Jason what Jason could do to capture the sort of vibe of the album. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I could say it's just his ability to capture what we can do live in a production sense for the album, right? So I don't think we changed that much.
We also had a great advantage in Jason being a singer. He knew what Panther was going through and what it is to be a singer, so he comes from that angle. And I think, he had those suggestions just from having done it himself.
And goddamn, he's sassy.
Next question here, and this one's for Alli. Okay. Alli, at the show, when I saw you in Detroit at Smalls, you busted out a horn while you were shredding. And I want to know, are you a band nerd? Are you my people?
I'm your people. I played trumpet in my junior high band, in my high school band, and I was in community band. I was the second chair out of all the schools. So I was really great at trumpet once upon a time. I played for like 5 years, I think. I stopped playing when I went to college, but I had my trumpet laying around. At some point, we decided to pull it out for fun. It's like, it's like a language. If you don't do it, if you don't use it, you lose it. I still remember how to play taps.
Nice.
But for the most part, I would write trumpet lines on guitar and then just like slowly figure them out again on trumpet. I don't know if it influenced my guitar playing. I think everything kind of influences each other.
Sure. I just wondered if kind of like from a classical background, if that kind of just affects the way that you think of chords or song structures or anything like that, because you have that background.
You've learned theory, even if you don't practice it, if you've learned it, I think it stays with you. And that's not to say that there's a lot technical to what I do in Bootblacks, because there's really not. It's all feel. There's nothing impressive about my guitar playing in Bootblacks, but
I have heard suspended 4 chords coming out of your fingers. So
True.
There's some theory happening.
There's some theory. It's like in the back of my mind,
So let's say I came to New York City and I wanted to have the Bootblacks experience of New York City. Like,
I missed that.
You got to start drinking Bud Light.
Is that the drink?
Yes.
Yeah.
When we were in normal life, we used to get together to rehearse twice a week. And we used to go to the Well weekly to have drinks with our buddies. And we used to go to the Acheron weekly. And I don't even know, the Well has shut down because of the pandemic. The Acheron, I think, is hanging on. But it's just such a different world right now.
Yeah, I mean, the answer to the question is that everything is totally disrupted.
Yeah.
I mean, the New York City experience is totally.
Yeah.
Well, this got in a hurry.
The question is valid, but I don't even have any semblance of what the New York City scene used to be or could be at this point, right? I mean, I think the whole world has no idea what a city's identity even means anymore. So
if you want to assume, pre this craziness, St. Vitus is one of the best venues in New York. The Red Party is one of the best clubs in New York.
When we get done hanging out at a show and it's 3 a.m., where are we going to eat?
If you're at the Red Party, I think you should go to Mamoon's Falafel.
Hell yeah, Mamoon's.
Yeah, but if you're looking for a slice, I mean, you could walk into any pizza joint at 3 a.m. in Manhattan and get a good slice.
Colin, do you have a final closing question?
As a band, studio catches on fire, practice space, whatever it is.
Yep.
I don't
What
like
are
the
you?
question.
What are you running for? You got
It's my
one.
Rickenbacker bass.
Oh yeah, you got to take that out.
I'm grabbing my original 1980 Empire Strikes Back AT-AT.
Burn all the musical equipment to the ground.
Fuck it. Who
Say
cares?
yes.
I'm not confining myself to one thing. First and foremost is my Fender Jaguar.
Yeah.
Then that's your thing.
Okay, but no. The second thing is that our friend
but no.
Andy from the band Weeknight gave us a Bud Light neon sign for our rehearsal space.
That was
Andy.
my second choice, Alli.
I will
Good.
not let that burn to the ground. Fight me. The third thing is we bought a mini fridge for our rehearsal space, and I'm saving that too because it's full of Bud Light. So those are my three. I don't care.
Wait. So, is Larry carrying one of these for you?
No, I got it all.
You got it all in
Absolutely.
one trip. One trip.
One trip.
Larry,
I believe
Larry
in you.
didn't get a pick. Larry, what's your
What are you
pick?
saying?
Larry, what's your pick?
Well, drums are too heavy. I wouldn't even bother.
So fuck it. Let it burn.
So then he can carry the fridge.
There's another band that we've done a podcast with called Sombre. I don't know if you guys know them, Brandon from Sombre, but like he is just as passionate about Miller Lite as you guys are about Bud Light. We could turn that into a serious ad campaign. That would be a good face-off. Is Sombre versus Bootblacks for Miller Lite versus Bud Light here.
We'll do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. We want that sponsorship.
We want either a Bud Light sponsorship or a cease and desist letter. And either one is fine.
We just want them to notice us.
Yeah, exactly. A little attention, you know? Is that so much to ask?
All right. So I'm going to go with my final question now to close up here. This has been wonderful. It's been great talking with you guys. I really feel like this album is something special and is going to be a big step for you. And it's a scary time with the pandemic and the world just isn't what we knew before. And I know you pushed this off and you released this album expecting to immediately go on tour with it and be able to put it in front of people, and the world just didn't let that happen. But I don't think it really takes away from what this record was and what it meant. Why should your fans, why should our fans be excited about this record? Why is it really important to you that this record came out, and what does that mean to you?
And I want to point out, I've been excited for like 7 months and being like, when's it happening?
Yeah, I had to wait for a long ass time, and I even got it early.
I think when all of this happened, we weren't totally sure what we should do. And we got on a call, you know, to talk about it amongst ourselves. It's sort of like, did it make sense to put this out if we can't tour? You know, we can't really like support it. And that's the old model of thinking, is like, you put it out, you support it. We couldn't. So we were like, does it make sense to put it out? We sort of talked it out amongst ourselves, and we're like, you know, I think people are kind of lonely right now. I think people are kind of sad right now and stressed out, and
Yeah.
maybe it makes sense to put it out and let people digest it while they're sitting at home with nothing else to do. It's something that we worked on for a really long time. We're really proud of it, and we're really excited to put it out. So we wanted it to come out, you know? So we decided to do it, and I think so far the response has been like overwhelming, like really overwhelming, that people are just excited, I think, to consume it and hear it. And we've already started writing the next one. So whenever this stuff is over, we're ready for that.
So it's like hard to see it outside the context of what's going on, and what that means. But we spent a long time writing it, and doing it with Jason was an amazing experience. And it's kind of been done for a long time. And I don't know, we're in this kind of weird moment. So I was expecting to put out in this other world, but on the other side of it, like, I feel like that's kind of exciting to release it in this COVID world, right? Because there's no touring, there's not this other kind of reality going on. So it's sort of nice to put out something that is I don't know. I'm just excited to share it with the world, and I think it's a great time to do that because it's a recorded experience that we could share with everybody, right? Yeah. So it's kind of exciting to do something where, as a band, that we've always been geared towards being live or having this live experience. Is sort of rad to share this like really produced album that we're excited about. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about it.
Panther, I think that's a great point that, like I said, I think part of the story of you guys has always been this is a live band. I know when I've talked to other people about you guys, it's
Right.
sure there's these recordings out there, and even the Part-Time Punks one, which I'm a huge
Right.
fan of, and I think shows a bit of that live side. But you guys kind of had that stigma of you were that band you had to see live to appreciate. And I think
absolutely.
this
yes,
album
and
changes that.
Yeah, and absolutely. I feel very proud of the body of work that we had before that, but I think like Jason really captured what we were about as a live band, and I think we're kind of at a cool opportunity. Not that like COVID is good, but that we're actually putting out an album that represents what we can do live and captures that experience.
For me, I'm excited about this album for a few reasons, really. One, this was our first record with this lineup, with Larry being a full-time member. Every album that a band puts out is a bookmark in time, right? It's where you were at that moment. And I felt like holding on to this album any longer wasn't honest. It's like, we did it. We finished it. Let's get it out there. Plus, we're not the type of band to just sit around and waiting for something to happen. Like Alli said, we started writing the next one. So, we're not going to stop there. Like, we're not just waiting for this whole thing to end and be over. We just want to put something out that we're proud of, and I am proud of it. It's probably the first album that I've ever put out as part of a band that there's always that one song on an album, right? And you're like, we could have done a little better on that one, or it took a longer to finalize, or something just didn't sit right, whatever it was, right? There's always that one song.
Sure.
I don't feel that way on this album, and that's a first for me, that every song I'm proud of, every song I like, every song I cannot wait to play live. So yeah, I think it just needed to come out.
Beautiful. So, Darklings around the internet, this has been Sounds and Shadows interviewing Bootblacks. I really can't stress enough that you need to hear this album. You really need to have it on LP like I do. This is one of those records that really hit me like a sledgehammer and made me feel something. And I think they expressed really well that in this time of isolation and emotion and anxiety for a lot of us, putting out a truly transcendent and great album is something that's good for all of us and that we need it. Everyone out there, keep it dark, yo.